Good evening, YouTubers. Glad to see you on this awesome Thursday, June 15th, 2023, my godbrother's birthday, and celebrating my other godbrother's daughter's amazing state softball victory right here in State College. A lot of things to talk about today I want to catch up on. If you're just the first time seeing this, please subscribe, like, share, tell others, and comment. Don't hesitate to comment right here on YouTube. It's been a while since I last presented, and so much has taken place, almost a month. Just getting my stuff together, getting my head right, working on my next project, finishing old projects, and putting my ducks in a row. Since I last talked, I was able to go to this amazing conference, the American Literature Association. If you love reading, if you love authors, check out their Twitter page. It gives you an index of every author society that is part or that presents a paper. It's really awesome to hear the papers of authors, about the work of authors, like in-depth papers. This is where you go to test your chops, your writing chops, your listening chops, your reading chops when you go to these conferences. And I was grateful to present a paper at this past conference in May in Boston. I was able to also see my old college friend and visit my uncle, who also lives in New England. But I presented a paper called Almost a Man, the dramatic vision of Leslie Lee. And I was grateful to be on that panel with three other scholars. Um, and it was chaired by Jean-Philippe Marcoux. It was an amazing experience. I also had the chance to hear an amazing paper the next day by Toya Mary Okonkwo, and she delivered a paper that I can't ever forget called Beyond Happily Ever After, The Bluest Eye and Its Fairy Tale Ending. And she's arguing, Toya, that the Bluest Eye novel by Toni Morrison be read as a fairy tale. And I told Toya, I remember Toni Morrison saying in the book TV interview that she did when a young caller, he must not have been more than 12 years old, called in to Toni Morrison and she said, ask your parents first. So she, Toya, this author is really dealing with the argument and the possibility that young children, these are smartphone children born in the 21st century, be taught the bluest eye as a fairy tale. And Toya's paper, goes in as to why. So it was an awesome time hearing Toya's paper. I presented about the amazing playwright Leslie Lee, whose play I saw with my aunt Iona, whose son's birthday is today, Marlon's birthday is today. And his play, The First Breeze of Summer, totally changed me forever. It convicted me to follow through with my playwriting. And right the day that I saw him was the day that I went into the drama bookshop and saw that there had flyers for a playwriting course, and it was taught by him, Leslie Lee. And I took it and just delved into his work even more, read his plays. I presented two of his plays at this conference, The First Breeze of Summer and Sundown Names and Night Gone Things, which I think is a phenomenal play about based on Richard Wright's experience in Chicago. Check his work out. I'm working on a project of his plays with a publisher, and more to come about that. But he's an amazing dramatist that taught me a lesson I'll never forget about the best play production. He's into plays. I'm into plays. My dad brought me to plays when I was brought me and my little sister to plays when we were little, and Leslie Lee basically taught me that the best production you'll get of any play is not the Broadway production. It's the off Broadway production because there are no pressing commercial interests to have this actor take out that line. It's the author or the writer's authentic production rather than money, wealthy interests coming in and telling you, take that out because we want people to have a nice, happy ending. So I'm grateful to be able to write about Leslie Lee, and I'm working on a project about his plays. So more details on that later. And then when I was at the conference, I noticed this interesting book, The Critical Life of Toni Morrison, basically the life of all the people who wrote about her work, who wrote um, meaning, who wrote criticism not picking it apart or describing its weaknesses, but describing the detail of her work. And I was grateful to notice in this book by Susan Neal Mayberry a paragraph about me and Natalie's work, God Help the Child. What Mayberry writes is in their collection of essays about the Black family and God Help the Child, that's Morrison's last novel that she published while she was alive. Editors myself and Natalie King Pedroso incorporate insights about various conflicts in comradeship, divided, and then she has a footnote here that describes Morrison's parents, the real life Toni Morrison's parents, as comrades. That's a term Morrison used to describe her parents. Mayberry writes that our book is divided into three parts that focus on aspects of the Black family and relationships as they relate to the novel's protagonist. This 2020 collection first examines how Bride was socialized as a child. Part one includes essays on the significance of the inner child emotional development that includes Jasmine Wilson's amazing first article, honoring family and fatherhood, the crippling of community via race houses. Part two offers chapters that highlight the protagonist as a professional, examining Bride and Brooklyn as disconnected sisters from another Mista, ways in which professional women navigate space at work and at home, and Bride in the context of Yoruba deities and the sable Venus. Part three deals with Bride's journey as she leaves. Bride is the main character in that novel, God Help the Child. And Mayberry is describing our book. Uh, and I'm grateful to notice this in print at the conference. They had a book exhibit room, and this was one of the books that I noticed. Mayberry writes that part three deals with Bride's journey as she leaves the workplace, including chapters on her potential partnership with Booker Starburn, according to Kobe Kambon's model of African self consciousness. That's particularly my article using the Black psychologist Kobe Kambon to explain development, how Morrison develops, if at all, her characters, and how the Yoruba deity Oshun and Mary Jane Paul of BET's television series Mary Jane, Being Mary Jane, illuminate Bride's experiences. So that is Susan Neal Mayberry's book. You can check it out. It is called The Critical Life of Toni Morrison, an amazing book that I had the chance to read since my previous YouTube live. I finally finished it. I took copious notes. I must have taken like 20 pages of handwritten notes front and back because I'm doing another project on this amazing singer. It's just a lot. Wow. What an amazing life. What an amazing body of songs. Shout out to the two amazing IG pages that I follow every day. Phyllis Hyman. I don't know who runs it. I would love to know who runs it. And Forever Phyllis Hyman. But yeah, I just finished the biography by Jason A. Michael. What a book. So much to say. I like the license Michael takes in how he writes her life. He begins the biography with her suicide, with her decision to end her life. And he ends it, of course, with that in detail, but in a different way. He's looking more at how the people look at her and the social environment after, as she's, discovered to be dead. And then in the beginning, he focuses on her decision and really put it in the context of her bipolar or manic depression that she suffered while she was alive. But she was somebody that I have to admit had a strong support network. Even though she didn't heed a lot of the advice of the professionals, she did have a psychiatrist, Jason Michael writes about, named Portia Hunt, who really dug into Phyllis, encouraged Phyllis to do the right thing. encouraged Phyllis to avoid indulging in the drugs that were just letting her spiral. But I'm looking at her on this project that I'm working on that I'll give more details about in a different way. I'm looking at her work as a result. I'm very struck by several things she said. I don't know if I'll be able to find it in the time that I have left here, but she had really profound thoughts about parenthood. She had profound thoughts about um, the danger of having children when you're not ready. And I think that's what makes Phyllis Hyman so sympathetic to me. She was very clear that she did not want to live the life of a um, of a burdened mother. She did not want to live that life because she noticed that's what her mother went through. However, while she did not live that burdened life, she still sought male companionship, stable male companionship. Um, Jason A. Michael does talk about a woman lover that she had in her life. Um, However, in my mind, that did not preclude or interfere at all with her desire, her sincere desire for male partnership. I'm not seeing her in the project that I'm working on. I refuse to see her life as a tragedy. I see it as more of her at the end of her life, her using drugs more in order to reconcile um, her mother and her father. She began understanding her father's life and her mother's life through her singing and through the connections she made with her audience, with her band. And the song that will always grab me is What You Won't Do for Love. The way that she sings that is like none other, as well as Meet Me on the Moon. But the song that I play the most, that always echoes in my head, is Living All Alone. That song is hers. I do want to thank Jason A. Michael for the amazing amount of research he put into this biography. I was, it was compelling on every page. I just wanted to get to the end. I wondered how it would end. And Jason A. Michael wrote a very compelling book that kept me turning every page and wanted me to know how she was going to overcome this problem, how she was going to overcome that problem, how she was going to reconcile the loss of a relationship, how she was going to carry on, how she was going to keep her integrity in an industry that refused to really recognize her, that wanted to categorize her, you know. So thank you, Jason Michael. Also, thank you to Calvin Michael for organizing the book talk that really put me on to this book. Beginning last month, he started it. So we're supposed to finish it by the end of this month. But check this book out, Strength of a Woman. I wanted to read one excerpt of it. I also found it interesting that she was connected with so many producers that I deeply respect, so many pianists that so many musicians that I deeply respect that I know now. I didn't know from Jason A. Michael's biography taught me that she worked with Stephen Ford, who worked with Richard Smallwood, whose music I love. All of his albums I love. Stephen Ford produced basically all of Richard Smallwood's um, live recordings, as well as Jonathan Dubose, who I didn't know except from Jason A. Michael's biography. Jonathan Dubose was Miss Hyman's pianist. Jonathan Dubose is also Richard Smallwood's pianist. So I was glad to see that connection. This particular page talks about the producers that I know because I read the liner notes from a lot of the albums I love listening to, from Brownstone to Whitney's 90s albums to Mary J. Blige to Rochelle Farrell, a lot of these producers that Phyllis worked with, I know. This page in particular is one that I sent to on Instagram. I sent this page on Instagram to Gordon Chambers. And man, I love, he's an amazing producer who produced some awesome songs that have carried me through a lot of emotional moments. He wrote I Apologize by Anita Baker. Gordon Chambers also um, wrote Yolanda Adams's "Someone Watching Over You" on her Day by Day album, and he also worked with Phyllis Hyman. Um, and this is the part that Jason writes where Phyllis Hyman discovers the genius, the creative genius of um, Gordon Chambers. Um, in this paragraph, Hall, let me see, I want to make sure, Dave Hall, right, who was a producer for Brownstone, several producers, several amazing songs Dave Hall has produced for. Jason Michael writes, Hall was worried that Phyllis was not a strong enough writer on her own and brought in backup in the form of Gordon Chambers, a young entertainment editor with Essence magazine who'd been making a name for himself by writing songs on the side. But Phyllis didn't like surprises. When she arrived at Hall's place and found Chambers waiting in the basement, she was not pleased. You hear my baby Miracle trying to make her present, his present, make his presence known on my 34th YouTube. Yes, yes, Miracle, I hear you. Um, when Phyllis arrived at Hall's place and found Chambers waiting in the basement, she was not pleased. Phyllis quickly excused herself and went upstairs to use the phone, placing a call to Glenda in Philadelphia. She's yelling at Glenda on the phone, Gordon recalled. Glenda, who's this producing? He's got this little young kid songwriter here. This is Gordon Chambers, Phyllis Hyman is talking about. And I want to write these songs myself. And while she's upstairs cussing everybody out, the track for what would become It's Not About You, It's About Me was playing, and I just wrote the hook of that and just started laying down the hook. It seemed like what her personality was. When she'd finished venting, Phyllis rejoined and Gordon in the basement. What's this? She asked as the young songwriter continued to sing. Gordon just wrote this hook, Dave told Phyllis. You must have written this before you got here, Phyllis said accusingly. Hall answered for his friend. No, he just wrote the damn hook just now. Hell no, Phyllis said. No effing way. Then she scrutinized Gordon a little more closely. Don't I know you from somewhere? Yeah, I've been to some of your shows. But just her working with the younger producers, um, an amazing talent, an amazing singing talent, whose singing carried and transitioned and legitimized some of the most amazing producers that we know today. But since my previous YouTube live, the amazing playwright, amazing novelist of changes, Ama Ata Aidoo, the Ghanaian writer, passed on May 31st. I remembered reading this book in grad school, which I still have. I don't know, this is not letting me see the title. The title of this is The Dilemma of a Ghost and Anowa. And in my class in grad school, I will never forget the experience and the conversation we had about her play, The Dilemma of a Ghost, because it was the first time you had it was the first time that I read an African author born on the continent um, characterize an African American character. She describes the relationship between a Ghanaian man and an African American woman. And it was, wow, it really, yeah, it stunned me. She writes with a realism that I relate to. There's a really good interview of Amaata Aidoo I've been looking for since she passed, and it's with um, another scholar named Misere Mugo. And that interview, whoa, she really breaks down Christianity. She breaks down all Western religions so powerfully, so succinctly. Um, and I wanted to read this particular excerpt of the play, The Dilemma of a Ghost. It's not letting me. Okay. Um, hold on, let me get my stuff in order. Okay, it didn't let me. Okay. So in this excerpt, she, Eulalie, is the African American woman in a relationship, questioning, challenging her fiance Otto about his behavior in Africa, because in this time of the story, Ato has brought Eulalie, Eulalie, to meet his parents in Ghana. She's African American. Um, Ain't I poor here as I would have been in New York City? In pathetic imitation of Ato, Aidoo writes, Eulalie, she's imitating Ato. Eulalie, my people say it's not good for a woman to take alcohol. Eulalie, my people say they are not pleased to see you smoke. Eulalie, my people say, my people, damned rotten coward of a Moses. Otto winces. I've been drinking in spite of what your people say. She sits on the terrace facing the audience. Who married me, you or your goddamn people? She stands and moves closer to Otto. Why don't you tell them you promised me we would start having kids when I wanted them, Otto? They won't understand. Eulalie. Ha! And so you make them think I'm incapable of having kids to save your own face? Otto, it isn't that. Eulalie, then what is it? Otto, they simply won't understand that one should begin having children when one is prepared for them. Eulalie, sure not. What else would they understand but their own savage customs and standards? Otto, Eulalie, of course. You should have known that. Have they appreciation for anything but their own prehistoric existence? More savage than dinosaurs with their snails and their potions. You afterwards told me, didn't you, that they wanted me to strip before them and have my belly washed? Washed in that filth? She laughs mirthlessly. What did you tell them I was before you picked me? A striptease? She sits down again. Go and weep at the funeral of a guy you never knew. These are the things they know and think are worthwhile. At this point, she is certainly very sober. Aidoo writes. Otto says, look here, I won't have you insult Eulalie, my people. Added Moses, I shall say anything I like. I am right tired. I must always do things to please you and your folks. What about the sort of things that I like? And it goes on. And later, there's a dramatic crescendo in this scene when Otto slaps Eulalie. And the way Aidoo writes it, you really feel bad for Eulalie, but then you understand this is a whole clash of cultures, Western civilization versus, African traditional current day uh, post-colonial African society. And so it's just present and it's been written about a lot. She's one of the most widely criticized, discussed, just like Toni Morrison in the US. She's one of the most widely criticized writers of Africa, Ama Ata Aidoo. So we thank her for her work. Her novel Changes, a Love Story, got so much attention and she gave amazing, honest, fearless interviews. An excerpt of the interview she gave is on my Instagram, where she talks about Alice Walker, but still how even Walker's description of Africa is primitive and gives the readers the wrong impression, similar to Tony Brown in the US saying that the film version of The Color Purple gives viewers the wrong impression about Black men by the way Mr. was portrayed. But nonetheless, it it's a very realist slice. Alice Walker's work was a realist slice. Ama Ata Aidoo's work is an absolute realist slice of the relationships between African Americans and continental Africans. So check her work out. Okay, absolutely check her work out. Um, today is Thursday. On Tuesday or on Monday, yeah, on Monday, June 12th, the amazing coach Harvey Glantz. He was a 1976 gold medalist in the 4x100 relay, and he is the coach. He was the coach up until his last. He was coaching Karani like up until the last week. He just transitioned on Monday. Harvey Glantz, the amazing coach of Olympic gold medalist Karani James, who won the individual gold medal in the 400 meter in London in 2012. And then he earned the silver medal in Rio. And then Karani, under Harvey Glantz's coaching, earned the bronze medal in Tokyo. And I don't believe any other Olympian has that feat of earning 3 medals in 3 successive Olympics. But Harvey Glance's student or client, Karani James, has. He has earned 3 successive gold medals. So, an amazing contribution to um, the track and field history by what he's coached Karani James to do. So, I'm very grateful for the opportunity to really see that. I just want to make sure that if you're just watching this, don't hesitate to subscribe to my live. And my live is right here, Rome Fraser. You can also comment. Don't hesitate to comment. Let me see. And you can also give to my Cash App if you learned something from my YouTube today. It's been a while, so I know some of us may have fallen off of the awareness. Don't hesitate to give to my Cash App. I had a picture. It's going to be on my Instagram, and then it's going to be it's already on my Facebook. I want to congratulate Brianna Wilmot, who is the daughter of my childhood friend, Dwayne Wilmot, for earning state champion. She became state champion, state softball champion. Um, she was one, she won the state championship in 2021. All right. And now she's won it again in 2023. I was able to witness it because the championships took place right here in State College. So congratulations to Brianna on earning the state championship in softball. So proud that I was able to see her and see the game with her parents. Um, Fierce competitor. Her dad, Dwayne, is a fierce competitor, awesome competitor, just like Harvey Glance, just like Karani James. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have witnessed that. Um, yes, please. Let me just get rid of the screen. There I go. Okay. If you appreciated this YouTube live, don't hesitate to bless me with a Cash App. I would really appreciate it. What is my Cash App? It's my name, $Ron Fraser. And please subscribe, like, and share. My YouTube is my name, Ron Fraser. My IG is also my name, Ron Fraser. And I'm on LinkedIn as well as Facebook. My public Facebook is Ron Fraser, PhD. Um, yeah, check out these books. I just want to recap before I leave tonight's YouTube. The Strength of a Woman. Jason A. Michael wrote an awesome biography. Check out Ata Aidoo, and check out this amazing book, The Critical Life of Toni Morrison. Um, and I'm looking forward. This summer is the 2023 World Championships. So if you remember my IG post last year around this time, at the end of July, I did an IG live with Dwayne, Brianna's dad, about the World Championships here in this country. This year they will be in Budapest, Hungary. And I'm praying that all the athletes will do their best. I'm believing that Sha'Carri Richardson will be in focused championship mode and will be championship ready to earn a medal. I hope to see that in the 100 or the 200 or both, because she's talented. She's proven on the Diamond League circuit she's capable of earning a medal. She beat Lane Thompson Hera in a rain race, but she still beat her. That should be on her record, and that should show what she's capable of doing. So I'm looking forward to all of the athletes performing their best. Thank you for watching this 34th YouTube Live. Please subscribe, like, and share. Keep reading and keep the faith.